Hello guys and welcome to Electric File Troubleshooting webinar. I'm Anastasia and I'm so glad to meet you all today. And there's something I would like to tell you at the beginning of this webinar. So recently I was sick and now I'm okay, full of energy and excited to share everything with you today, but I'm still coughing a little bit. So I will be probably coughing from time to time during this webinar, so I'm sorry about that. But I really hope that will not bring any trouble to us because we're about to learn so many new things. Thank you so much for coming, and let me know if this is your first time here on my webinar. If it is, then drop any smiley in the chat, and if you've already been to my webinar, then you can use flame emoji. So, like this. And also, how many years or maybe months are you in the nail industry? All right, I can see people from South Africa, Sweden, Malaysia, Texas, France, Aruba. Wow. All right, we have such a broad geography. By the way, in Malaysia, I'm coming there next week. Okay, this is my first time, been here a few times. Okay, wow. So I can see many new people here. So let's get to know each other. So if you are here on this webinar, let's check if it is going to work for you. Because this webinar is for motivation and inspiration for beginners. If you're just getting started, whether in the nail industry overall or you are in the industry for a while, but you're just starting working with electric nail file, then it's definitely for you. If you are an experienced nail technician, but you just always want to learn something new, or maybe there's another category I thought about. Maybe you are an experienced nail technician, but for some reason, you are at the burnout stage, because I've been through that a few times throughout my career, so maybe this is something you're coming through now. So let me know which category is better for you, like 1, 2, 3, or 4. Oh wow, we have so many smileys here and like a few flames too. Cool. Thank you guys so much for joining. I'm super excited because, you know, just thinking about this, that we all are from the different parts of the world, just here at the same place at the same time, are going to talk about the passion we all share, which is nail art. I've been doing nails for a few months. Okay, so I see another technical questions. Are we supposed to see the video on the YouTube link? So I know that some of you are watching through YouTube, and that's totally fine because this is exactly the same video you will see on the website. But at the end of this webinar, I will be presenting my new updated online course, and also I will be doing a giveaway of Nail Drill Bits mini book. So if you would like to participate in that one or join my course, then it is better to watch through the website because you will see these links only there. But you will see the entire video on YouTube too. Okay, Trinidad and Tobago. Couple years at home. I guess I'm category 2. Okay, so we have so many beginners here. Beginning my nail journey, South Carolina. Number 4, okay, Travers. So we have people from the burnout category as well. And I really hope that this webinar will help you to get through this. Okay, guys, I'm really sorry about this. But this, leftovers of COVID are still here. So I'm just going to take my coughing pills from time to time. Yeah, I think it's going to work. All right, so now let's get to the program. So what are we going to learn today? How to stop being afraid of using electric nail file, because I know this is the issue for some of you. Also, we will talk a lot about typical mistakes when working with electric nail file. We will overview them, understand why it happens, and how to prevent it, such as overfiled nails, ridges from using the drill bit, and cuts on the skin or burns. So when I did this poll on my Instagram, you guys shared so many different problems with electric nail file. They were all different, but I noticed that most of them are still related to the technique on how to work with electric nail file. So that's what we're going to highlight today. Hello, Chile. Hello, Switzerland. I'm a beginner with e-file, but I'm a Nails Pro Academy in England. Thank you. Just take your time. We're patient. Thank you, guys. Okay, besides, we are going to talk about how drill bits work and how to avoid damaging the nails. And also, I thought of like a ladder, which I called Levels of E-File Mastery. I will get like more details by the end of this webinar. And also, I will present my online classes, E-File 101 and E-File Manicure. I know that we have some people who already took these classes. We updated them a little, so I will present the new program. And also, we will do a little bit of hands-on practice. If you would like to participate in that one, you will need a few swatch sticks with a product on, any kind of product, like gel polish, acrylic will work. And also you will need an electric nail file with any kind of carbide bit. So since we have so many new people here who are only the first time on this webinar, I will quickly introduce myself. So I'm Anastasia Milton. I'm doing nails for a very long time, since 2004. I became educator in 2007. And since then, I was teaching, and I enjoy it every single day. And I have over 40,000 students worldwide. This number still is just crazy when I think about it, but it's possible only when we started online classes, because in person, that will be too hard to take so many students. And also, my students, that's the thing I'm most proud of, have over 47 awards. So they took part in the competitions, they did online competitions, and they have about this amount of awards. Okay, Philippines here. I'm a 40-year-old manicure student. Greetings from Peru. Hello, Sandra. 1 year, Florida here. Number 3 from Philippines. I can't make the difference when filing the dead cuticle and keratin, Nicole. We will talk about this today. So all these awards, and I just wanted to like share something with you and show something I haven't shown much people. You know, this is not something you would like to show on your Instagram, but this is life. So my first nails looked like this. So they were not perfect from the beginning. And by the way, these are not my very first nails. I do not have a picture of the very first at all because I just didn't like them, so I didn't even want to take a picture. But they were not great, trust me. And most importantly, they did not, like not all of them last very long. So I made so many mistakes at the beginning, and they included many things that we will talk about today, such as broken nails. Sometimes they're broken like this. Like you see, there's like a little blood over there, so it was broken like and quite painful. Lifting, overfiled nails, and damaged nails. Like a lot of the mistakes we're going to talk about today. That's why this topic is very easy for me, because I understand it, because I've done this too. I've been there. And I fixed it. So that's why, you know, it's just, I understand how to talk about this, because I know that some people were lucky to have a very good education from the beginning, so they didn't have to work through these mistakes, so it's a little different. But unfortunately, my first beauty school was not great. Like we only had 5 days of classes, so I had no idea how to do fills. Actually, they didn't, like we didn't learn anything about electric nail file, so this is something I had to learn on my own. And when you're learning on your own, just through trial and error, obviously there are a lot of errors and mistakes at the beginning. And unfortunately, my clients were the one who suffered. Well, and me too, because they never came back. I mean, their nails didn't look great. But this is how my works looks today, and you can also see it on my Instagram, on my YouTube. So over time, I developed the correct technique. I took more classes, and I still doing this like every few months. And it helped me a lot. So actually, that's why I'm doing this webinar now, because this is something I'm so passionate about, sharing, learning, studying. And I mean, I am a fan of learning too. So if I could do it, you can do it too. Like, I'm the same person as you. I did mistakes, so if you have some mistakes, please do not worry. And most importantly, do not compare your beginning of career to someone's middle of career, okay? And the proof that anyone can do it too is definitely the works of my students. So I will show you just a few pictures, because I think it's better just to show than to say, right? So these are works of my students after online classes. I believe this was eFile 101 class, the one I'm about to present today. So all you need to do is to understand how to choose the proper drill bits, how to work with the proper technique. In the US, they don't teach you anything but pass your state board. Audrey, well, yes, that's how the system works. So when I took my first beauty school, it felt similar. Like, they did teach me something, but so many things you actually want to use in the real life, in the salon life, such as electric nail file or fills or nail art, they didn't highlight any of this. Okay, a little bit more work. And yes, there's something I just said. So please do not compare your beginning to someone's middle of career, because today is very different from what it was at the beginning of 2000s. Today we have social media. Once you open the feed, you see all these perfect people, perfect nails, and you're just thinking, oh my God, like, what am I even doing here? Like, let me know if you ever had thoughts like this, because I do. Like, I open my Instagram feed, and everyone is so productive. Like, I did already like 10 things, and it's only 7 a.m., and I'm like, oh my God. So please try, not to take it too seriously, because when you see someone's work, most likely they already have some experience. They did it so many times, and you're just getting started. So it's just irrelevant to compare this. Okay, so this was a little intro, and now let's do the main part of the webinar. Now, are you ready for the content part? Get your paper and pens ready. You can also take screenshots. Please turn off distractions, because I really would like you to be very focused on what we are going to talk about today. Angela, the school. Okay. I'm afraid I make mine too thick so they don't break. Zelda, yeah, well, when you make nails thicker than they are supposed to be, in most times it will not actually help them to not break. It may lead to another problem, such as lifting. Okay, so I'm going to switch to my table. And here's the butterfly. I just, really like to use different kind of analogies, so it will be easier and fun for you guys to understand. And then I thought, oh my God, this is a butterfly, and like we have wings here, it will be too violent if I take them off. So I'm not going to rip them off, I will just slightly open them. Okay, so butterfly, I just thought it's like a great analogy, because we all know that technically we have 4 sections. And each section is very important, because if one will be missing or incorrect, the picture will not be complete. And first one, and a very important one, is drill bit. You need to choose the correct drill bit, because let's say if you would like to take off acrylic nails and you decided to use this kind of drill bit with red abrasive mark, it will take you forever. It will work in some ways, but it will be too long, it will be overheating, and like you will hate the process and your client too. Okay, so choosing the proper drill bit depending on what you would like to do is number one. Then do not worry, I will show you like the whole picture later too. So next one is speed. Let's say you choose the right drill bit, perfect one, but the speed you're using is too slow. Well, as the result, you will have overheating. It will take you too long, and also we can hurt the client. If it's too fast, it's also not the perfect scenario. So right speed is important too. Number 4 is angle. Even if you choose the correct beat, the correct speed, but the angle will be, let's say, for removal instead of flat one, the angle is like this, like, oh my God, we are going to overfile a nail. We will talk about this mistake in particular later today too. And finally, the last one, do you guys have any ideas what the last one is going to be? Okay, so we have drill bit, we have speed, and we have angle. So what is the last part that is so important too? It's the technique. Well, yeah, absolutely. Like you need to have like a proper technique. It's pressure. So if you apply like all this is okay, and then you apply too much pressure, it will not be good. Like we can also damage the nails. Or if there's not enough pressure, well, then like it's just not going to work. RPMs. Well, RPM is technically the same as speed. RPM is rotations per minute, so it's this one. Okay, so I will switch now to the presentation. So here's the whole picture. Drill bit, speed, angle, and pressure. So this is a very simple 4-step formula you need to use. So whatever you experience any kind of problem, such as you overfile the nail, or it's burning, or it's just not working, or you accidentally cut the skin on yourself or on your client, I recommend you to take a look at this formula and just think that there is an error within one of these 4 sections. It's whether the drill bit that is incorrect, maybe the speed is whether too fast or too slow, maybe it's the angle, or is the pressure. And today we will talk about a few mistakes, and you will see that every time any kind of mistakes occur, there is a problem, whether within just one section of this, or maybe 2 or 3, or 4 of them. Well, 4 of them is rare, but okay. How to hold the finger. Yeah, how to hold the finger is definitely important too. Torque, rotation, that's what I need to learn. Pressure, yeah. So pressure is something that you need to learn, just like anything else, is through practice, because choosing the right drill bit or speed, technically you just need to know, right? So these first 2 parts, it's mostly theory. So I can just tell you, okay, you need this bit for this. Or I can tell you, you need this speed for this. By the way, we have, regarding of drill bit, choosing the right drill bits, it's all in the Nail Drill Bits mini book. And this one's included in the class, and we will also talk about it today. But angle and pressure is something, even if you know, like somehow you know what the angle should be, you still need to practice this. So knowing which angle and pressure should be there is not enough. So for the last 2 parts, you will also need to practice it. Okay, so speaking of drill bits, besides choosing the proper one, you need to choose the high-quality drill bits. Because some of them, unfortunately, are not very good, such as these ones. I don't know why. I do not have any explanation for this. I do so many reviews on electric nail files. If you guys are watching my YouTube channel, you know this. And so many companies producing such a great electric nail files, like the ones that I like, for some reason they include the diamond bits kit with their electric file that usually looks like this. And these are, in particular, are not high-quality drill bits. Like, well, the video quality will probably not allow you to see the details, but the grain on these bits, it's not even. So it's just not possible to do some good work with this kind of bits. So what I recommend you guys to do, just simply throw this kit away, because this is not a high-quality one. And then besides using a high quality, you need to choose the correct bits depending on the product, nails, and your goal. Let's say if you're working with acrylic or soft gel or gel polish, the abrasive mark should be different. Okay, so let's say we would like to shape or remove nail extensions. Then for nail extensions, I definitely recommend you to use carbide or ceramic drill bits. They look like this, not necessarily this shape, okay? This is just an example, so you will have an idea what carbide or ceramic looks like. Carbide as well as ceramic bits, they have flutes, which technically work like a small blades, shaving the top layers off. That's why they're so good for product removal. But if you would like to work with natural nails, let's say for nail prep, or for dry manicure, that please do not ever use carbide or ceramic bits. Instead, you need to use some of these: diamond, stone, chamois, I hope I pronounced this one correct, rubber, or silicone. Well, rubber or silicone will not work for nail prep, but you still can use them when working with natural nails. And in case you guys have no idea what am I saying, like what is diamond, what is stone, I'll just show you the pictures. So diamond drill bits are the ones, they look like they have some metallic dust on them. They can have a different shape, size, or they also come with a different color bands, which refer to abrasive. So this is what they look like. So diamond drill bits are the most common when you're working with natural nails. Then we have stone bits. They also have different shape. They have different colors, which usually refers to different abrasiveness. Usually pink is soft and green is more coarse. But it may vary depending on the manufacturer. So these are also great for working with cuticles, with sidewalls. Then we have rubber and silicone. These can be used for buffing the surface of the nail plate or for very sensitive and thin skin as well. And then we have chamois. I hope this is how you're supposed to say it. So this one is for polishing natural nails. It's better to be used not just by itself, but if you use a cuticle oil or a special cream, like buffing cream or polishing cream, you just apply it on this bit, and then you will have this beautiful shine. But this procedure, this service is only for people who do not want any nail enhancements. They just want their perfect, beautiful, natural nails. Okay. Are stone bits sanitizable? Travelers asking. Yes, absolutely. All right, so now since the topic of our webinar is how to fix mistakes like electric nail file troubleshooting, so let's shoot the troubles, and it's time to see the incorrect bits. So I pre-recorded these videos for you guys in advance because when we were streaming live, the quality is not as good as pre-recorded one. Okay, so now you see me taking off the product with this sand band, and I've seen nail technicians using it for removal. As you can see, it's working, right? It is taking the product off, so it's doing its job. And by the way, the abrasive is 100 grit, I believe. But this is not effective. First of all, it's taking too long. Another problem with this bit is that the shape, like there are not that many different shapes of the sand bands. Well, mostly there's just one. So it will be super hard to reach some areas like closer to the cuticle, closer to the sidewalls. And most importantly, it's going to take forever. So now I just filed off the top coat and the color, but underneath, there's still a lot of product. So that's why I think the sandband is not a good option for working with product or product removal, even though it's kind of working. Another problem is that because it's taking too long, you have to file longer and stay in one spot longer, which eventually will cause heat spikes. So I had a lot of questions like, hey guys, like I feel these heat spikes whenever I'm filing my nails. Well, if the bit is incorrect, then it can happen. And now the other side of the nail, I will take it off using Carbide Bit, and you will just see the difference. I just technically did like 1, 2, 3, and we can already see that I took off more product than with the previous one, which took me about a minute, right? And here it's just within a few seconds. So this is the difference, guys. I think you can even see the surface, like the left part of the nail is so smooth, while the right one is not as smooth. So this is the first problem, the first mistake, using incorrect bead. So if it's incorrect, it may lead to mistakes. So for product removal, sandband is definitely not a great idea. Okay, so let's say we use for product removal not the sandband, but something else. For example, this diamond bit. Oh, I've seen someone's comment about this kit that these beads are not even for nails. Yes, guys, I absolutely agree. I actually have a feeling that this is the same bit I just showed you a few moments ago from the kit that is included with the e-file. And yes, I agree. I think it's not even for nails. You see how many times I'm filing, and it's just not doing its job. It's just filing off the top coat. So even if you will somehow be able to take off the product using this one, first of all, it's going to take you forever. And the client, I think, will complain because it is going to burn because of so much friction going on here. The sanding band also creates more heat when removing product. Kimberly saying, yes, absolutely. So diamond bits are too soft for using them for product. There are like maybe only couple moments where you could use them, such as fixing very sensitive area, let's say when it's close to the skin. But other than that, I think it just doesn't make sense to use it. So carbide or ceramic definitely work better for working with the product. And besides choosing, so we chose like incorrect bits according to their material. And now I would like to show you a carbide bit. So I just told you carbide bits are great for product removal, right? And this is a carbide bit, but the shape is not the one I would recommend you to use. So it's too narrow. And you see it's working. It's actually taking the product off and it's doing it pretty good. But because of this narrow shape, I cannot do this by just, 2 to 3 motions like I did with this previous carbide bit. I'm forced to do it so many times, so it is going to take longer. Plus, with this shape, the surface is not going to be super smooth after removal, which means I will need to use a hand file in addition to this. And it will just lead to more work. It looks scratchy. Yes, definitely. So I guess you guys are talking about the sand bands. Yes, the surface is scratchy after using them, unlike carbide bits. So you see, if you have a certain technique, if you have certain experience, you will be able to take off the product, even with this bit, even with sand band, even with diamond bit. Absolutely. Like, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but it is going to take you longer. It may cause heat spikes. It may cause so many different problems with clients. So I just will not recommend doing this. Work, stress on your body and clients. Absolutely. And also, I know that some of you guys are just getting started, so if it's only your first year of working, you may not know this, especially if you're very young. I started to do nails when I was 16, and I felt okay working 24/7 back then. But as you work more, it's actually like, a physical labor. Eventually, you will get tired, and you'll experience some your neck will hurt, your back after the end of the day. That's why it's important to learn how to work effective, right? So electric nail file is your best friend. It's a tool that will allow you to do so many things faster and with less work. I think everybody wants to work faster, to finish the service within just 1 hour instead of 2 or 3, right? That's why I love using electric file, because it can allow you to achieve all that. Okay, so we just talked about incorrect use of the bit. But now let's talk a little bit more specifically about the mistakes you may experience when using electric file in the wrong way. Gwen is asking, when using carbide or ceramic, what is the best grit to use when removing gel? Well, it also depends on the nail. Sometimes gel nails can be very thin and natural, sometimes they're very bulky. But I would say it's usually blue or green. So now in this picture, you can see these poor damaged nails with the so-called rings of fire. So technically, these are ridges on the nail caused by using electric nail file. It's not located near the cuticle anymore because the nail has outgrown on this part already. But at some point, it was on top, right here. And also, you could not see it maybe from the beginning because it was located under the cuticle. So why does this happen? Do you remember our 4-step formula? So incorrect drill bit could be, but it's rare. Incorrect speed, it also could be, but more likely here we have an incorrect angle or incorrect pressure. So this is another example of the typical mistake. This nail overall is kind of overfiled, but we also see this part here near the cuticle. You see this part, it's technically, we have a drill bit that went through the nail plate and caused this part that looks like it can be tricky because it looks like a skin, but it's not. It's the part of the nail plate. Sometimes it looks like this, all the way. So I would like to explain how it works and why it happens. That's why I printed this bit. So this mistake that I showed you just now on the nail, it could happen using any kind of drill bit, actually, not necessarily this diamond one. It could be carbide bit after incorrect shaping near the cuticle. It could be sandband, it could be anything. But usually it's the diamond bit when doing prep. So whenever you're working, whether it's a diamond bit or carbide, it doesn't matter. Just always think of it as some kind of very small knives or blades that are designed to carefully take a little bit of product, or in this case, a little bit of protein from the surface of the nail plate without touching the nail plate. Okay? So I'm sorry, guys, maybe this example will be too extreme for you, but I just think, when we explain using some everyday object, it will be easier for you. So here I have, I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to call this fruit. It's peach, right? I believe so. It just has a little hair. That's why I decided to pick it. So we have a little hair. And you guys all are familiar with the simple process we do in our lives, shaving, right? I mean, regular shaving. And we just take a shaver. So when you shave, our goal is to remove the hair, but the skin will stay there, right? We do not remove the skin when shaving. So that's why we have this beautiful, like, modern shavers, and they have blades there that are located at a certain angle. And they also have this cushion here, which makes it almost impossible to accidentally cut yourself. So then you do this, and then you have a very nice smooth surface without hair. So if you will press more, like harder than you're supposed to, no, actually nothing's going to happen, just because they have this system here with cushions and everything. They will still protect your skin from damaging. But when we're working with the drill bits, we do not have this. Okay, let me show you this. So when we're working with electric file, you do not have this special protective system. You're on your own. So once you press harder than you're supposed to, you're going to overfile the nail. But most important part here is the angle. So once again, these blades are located in such way that they already have a certain angle. And even if you press or, just do something differently, it's not going to change. That's why the angle is so important. But if I would use, let's say, the regular blade instead of shaver, I know there's some kind of, these shavers, like a manual ones, right? When they just take the blade and shave, something like this. So if I try to use it like this, it's maybe not that sharp, but it's still kind of working, right? The hair, is gone, and then we have the skin. But once I use the angle that is extremely incorrect and more pressure, oh my God, this is when the trouble happens. Makes sense? Okay, so the same thing should happen when you're working with a drill bit, when you're prepping the nail or taking the protein, the leftover cuticle, the dead skin from the nail plate. The angle should be, it's almost laying on the top of the nail plate, and it's technically just taking a little bit skin off. Once the angle is it's piercing the nail plate or going through it or poking it, then this is where we're going to cut through the nail plate. Okay, so let me guys know if this analogy works for you. But this is how it works actually with any drill bit. So let's say you are taking the product off. Yeah, there will be no hair then, but the process is also the same. But with the product, our goal is to take the product off, but not overfile the nail plate. That's why you also need to be in control of these layers you are shaving off. That's why the angle is super important. And there will be a video, a hands-on video about it later in our presentation. Okay, so let me guys know if this example was good for you, because I think it's just easier to understand when you are dealing with regular activities, right? We all done shaving at least once in our life, so we understand kind of how it works. We all accidentally cut ourselves. Sometimes it's still possible when it's some area that's not that smooth, or you accidentally move the blade like this. The cuts are still possible, and it's exactly it's very similar to when we're working with electric file. So the angle should be you're just shaving, peeling the top layers off. And like I said, yes, I've done these mistakes too. So when I started practicing with electric nail file, who was my main model? Myself, of course. And oh my God, I did this overfiling on my nails so many times. And honestly, at first, I didn't even understand why it's happening. I'm I could see that something is wrong, but I didn't realize why. So I had to go through a lot of trial and error until I finally realized that it's about angle and pressure when it comes to when it comes to this problem. So here in the picture, we can see overfiled nails. And when the nails are overfiled on the top, it's pretty simple to understand, like, what is it? It's more layers of the nail were filed off than supposed to, but why? So when you're taking the product off, most likely, sometimes you cannot tell if it's the product or the nail plate already. So my recommendation to you is to practice and to learn. And if you do not feel confident, you don't have to take off the product all the way with Carbide Bit. You can later switch to the hand file when you're learning. But later you will get more practice and understand how to take the product off pretty quickly just by using Carbide Bit. So here's another mistake. I just showed you ridges from using the bit. So let's go from explanation with the peach and shaver to the actual hands-on video. So I would like to show you how this works on the nails. Okay, so this is incorrect angle. Okay, I didn't do the actual incorrect motions because, I just feel for this model. So when you hold it like this, you are going to file through the nail and end up having ridges. Let me show you again. So when the drill bit is like poking the nail, like cutting through it, and then I turn it on and it will show you the correct angle. So here's the difference. You see the drill bit is laying on the surface of the nail plate, and I'm taking off only the dead skin. Yes, we are touching the surface of the nail plate, but very slightly, just without much pressure, and this is the difference. But I know that this is a very typical and common mistake because you guys mentioned it a lot when I was doing the polls. But I also wanted to warn you about this technique, that dry manicure, some people call it Russian manicure, electric file manicure, it doesn't matter. This is an advanced technique. So if you are just getting started, if you're learning how to work with electric nail file in general, please do not start with this one, because I will later explain you the levels of e-file mastery. So this is the top one. This is simply quite hard to feel and to understand. So I recommend you first to practice removing product or doing fills, because it's much easier to understand and safer. I've seen people use kiwis and peaches. I'm gonna do that. I need the proper bits. Yes, by the way, I have kiwi here too, but then I realized, I don't know, I just like the peach better for some reason. So yeah, it helps to practice a little bit, even though like the skin is very different from the peach of the skin. But I think when you like have practice on different things, like in our class, we do practice on swatch sticks. We practice on ourselves. We practice on tips. We practice on models. But before models, we do all this. So I think it's very important to feel the product, to feel the drill bits, to feel the correct pressure and angle first before you switch to the real life. I'm scared of damaging my nails to do a dry manicure. Yeah, so I will explain it a little bit later in details. Like I said, dry manicure is a very advanced technique. Just imagine that like a kid is learning how to read. A child. First, they learn how to read letters, and then they combine them into small words, and then they learn a very simple, like short sentences, right? And only after that, slowly they start to read. But then imagine you have the same child that barely knows like where's A, where's B, where's C, like haven't learned letters yet, and you just give them the book and say, read it. And that's about that's the same when you just have this electric nail file in your hands for the first time in your life, and I'll tell you, do dry manicure. Okay, so I recommend you to start practicing filing the product, doing fills first. How to hold e-file machine, because every time I make a mistake with holding the machine, I can't make enough pressure. Well, actually, there is not there's not like standard way of holding this, because people hold it in a different ways, but usually it's the same as you would hold the pen, because I know some people hold it somehow in a different way. So this is how I hold it. We have a thumb here, we have an index finger, and the rest of the fingers right here. Not too close to here, because like it will be on your way a little further, about the same place where we have this switch to change the drill bits. Okay, let's proceed. Another typical mistakes, burns and abrasions. This is the picture of the client that came to me with overfiled nails from the nail salon. So besides aggressive filing and using incorrect bead, there is actually a very, very common mistake that is done a lot that causes this. And this is incorrect speed. And I think at this point you guys might be surprised, because most people think that if it's burning, then probably the speed was too fast. And it is possible, but in most cases what I see is the opposite. The speed was too low. Like on this video, I intentionally took a very low speed, I think around 12,000 rotations per minute, while the correct speed for this, for taking off gel, should be at least 20,000 rotations per minute. When the speed is too low, you are forced to press harder. So we already have this excessive pressure, and you know how friction works, right? So we're causing more heat spike, so the client feels very uncomfortable. Plus, it is going to take you longer. So I know it feels easier and safer when you're using the low speed. Like I remember when we learned to drive, right? We do not feel like driving fast right away. We just want to like feel safer. And the same thing when you learn how to work with electric file, you probably want to do it slower. So now I switched to the correct speed, which is 22,000 rotations per minute. You see the difference? How faster it is. So it technically took me like few times to file off the color and the top coat from the right part, while from the left part it took me so much longer, and also it's harder to control the bit when it's spinning too slow. Okay, so this is what happens. So you probably know this. So if you take your palms like this, okay, now you can try this if you want with me, and do this. Well, you're all aware what's going to happen. What's happening? We feel heat, right? This is actually what we do when we're cold. Well, I'm originally from a very cold country, so this is what we do all the time when the cold season starts. We do this to warm up, right? So it's called friction. This is what happens when we do this. And the exact same thing is going to happen when the speed is too low and you're just doing this and this and this all the time, because you're just not able to file off within like 4 to 5 steps. You're forced to make so many of them. It causes friction, it causes more friction, it causes more heat, and well, no one is happy. Okay, so when the speed is too low, it's the mistake that can lead to overfiled and damaged nails and to extreme long time of the service. Another mistake which we decided to point out is untidy manicure. And even though in this picture, do not worry guys, this is not blood, this is red gel polish. And maybe it's a little bit exaggerated, but sometimes this happens, right? The cuticle, the sidewalls, they are flooded with gel. And it could happen if you accidentally touch the skin with the gel, of course, but also it may happen if the manicure is not very clean. So what happens when, okay, this mistake is called incorrect pressure. So it was hard for me to show this. But when the pressure is not even, this is what happens. And I've seen this a lot. I call it with my students cheese style of removal, because the surface of the nail looks like cheese now. That's because you do not feel, you cannot control the bit very well. Okay, so now I switch to the correct way of working. And when you take off the product, ideally the surface underneath should be smooth. Remember, like I explained you, like with shaving, so we're technically shaving the top layers off. But if, like, instead of shaving them off, you see these small dots, you know, like the surface of the moon or the cheese, like Swiss cheese, that means the pressure you're applying, it's not even. So what's the solution here? Well, unfortunately, there is now no like super trick, like I showed you. Okay, just sit like this and think about something and the pressure will be perfect. No, unfortunately, with pressure, all you can do is practice. You need to practice working with different drill bits. So in our class, we have many exercises on that, on tips, on swatch sticks, and you just need to feel how it works. Some people think like, well, maybe that's because I can hardly control my hands, or I'm not talented enough, or something else. No, trust me. Even correct pressure is all about practice. So the more you practice, the better you will understand how it works. Incorrect pressure when using diamond bits is also going to lead to overfiled nails. Incorrect pressure when using carbide bit while product removal will lead to damaged and overfiled nails. Okay, so now let me quickly see your questions. Rachel sharing, oops, I started with dry manicure before product removal. At the time, I didn't realize it was more advanced. I think not having fear of knowing how advanced it was helped me to take the leap to do it. Now I focus mostly on product removal, though there are some parts of my cuticle I need to use a nail file with, as I tend to be too aggressive with the nippers. Rachel, yeah, actually, that's it. I like your attitude and a strategy when you just don't know what it is, like it's too advanced. Yeah, it's actually can be helpful sometimes. It's just something I also learned through trial and errors, through so many mistakes, that dry manicure is an advanced technique. That's why first we had electric file manicure class. And like many years ago, it was only a live class. And when students started coming, I just seen like they're doing a lot of mistakes, no matter how well I explain this, no matter how detailed instructions I give them. And then I realized why it's happening. It's simply because they do not feel the e-file yet. They do not have this experience, but where would they get it, right? So then I realized that first I need to teach them how to do the product removal, how to do fills. And after that, they felt so much more confident when doing dry manicure. And that's why I implemented this experience to the online classes. That's why now we have eFile 101, which is class for beginners. If you never ever even did something with electric nail file, that's the one. And eFile manicure class is the next one. It's like the advanced technique. So if you haven't completed the first one, I strongly do not recommend to switch to the next one. Sometimes, Trevor's sharing, sometimes my e-file jumps, especially when I get the free edge, and scares both me and the client. I'm always afraid I will injure the client, so scared to use it for removal. I tend to use only for dry manicure. That's what we are going to do today with hands-on practice. I will explain how to make it not jump on the free edge. Okay. Okay, another common mistake is cuts. And once again, this is not blood. You know how they type it in the TikTok videos, fake blood. Well, it is fake. It's gel polish too. But I'm pretty sure you guys are aware what cuts look like. And they happen for different reasons. Sometimes the drill bit may be incorrect. The speed could be too slow. And the pressure also is like not, it's not even, right? So if you press too hard at some point, it will lead to a cut. But in general, I would identify this mistake as no system. So when you're doing, whether it's dry manicure or removal, you have to have a certain system. So here I'm showing you when you do not have one. So you just file a little bit on the left, then file a little bit on the right, then switch to another area, right? So it just looks very chaotic. And it's also bad for the time of your service. It's going to take longer, but most importantly, it leads to mistakes when you do not have an understanding which area I need to work with first, which area needs to be second, and so on. Okay, I just took my another coughing pill, so I'll be good. Okay, so there also should be a certain system, let's say with product removal. So if you work like a printer, so you just try to take off the product, let's say from left side to the right one, that's okay. And I'm not saying the system that I teach, that I have, that I show in my classes, that I show in my videos is the perfect one and the only one out there. Of course not. It actually doesn't matter which system is, but there should be one, which means when you're taking off the product from one nail, it should be the same technique on the same one and next one and so on. Jetson's asking, how do you know the bit is too old? Well, when you have a new bit, it's working in a certain way, right? And once you see it's not working like this, it's too old. For diamond bits, it's usually 10 to 15 services. With carbide and ceramic, it depends on their quality. It may vary, but usually it's longer, about 30 to 50 services. All right, so let's talk about e-file mastery ladder. Okay, guys, so this is something I came up with in my head, and I just thought that it will be very helpful for you in terms of understanding on how you need to move and how you need to learn. So ladder means we are going from step 0 to step 7. There are 7 steps, well, 8 including 0. So number 0, I'm sorry, the very bottom one is filing the free edge. So let's say when you make the nails shorter, or reshaping. So if you feel confident about filing the free edge and reshaping, you're done with step 0. Then we have number 1, product removal without damaging nails on yourself. I think everyone would agree that normally it's a little bit easier to work on yourself. Just because you've done this, probably you do not feel stressed when you're working on yourself. Well, I mean, not as much as when with a new client, especially a picky one. So it's a little easier than working on someone else. Then we have number 2 is product removal on anyone else. I see, guys, that you ask many questions, and since I just want to be, like with the flow, just do not miss nothing from my lecture, I will just stick to it, and then we will have a Q&A session, okay? So I will scroll back to your questions, and I am going to review them and reply. So when you are confident about doing product removal on someone else, that's step number 2. Step number 3 is shaping after product application. So let's say you apply acrylic or gel or polygel on your client's nails, and then you just shape them with the e-file. And I know it may sound confusing because you're like, oh, well, actually, I'm very stressed when filing the free edge because it jumps, but I'm okay with shaping. So it's possible, when you feel confident at the certain step of this ladder, but the bottom ones are not complete. That's possible too. Then we have number 4, filing off product lifting without damaging natural nail. Oh my God, I've done this a lot because, like I said, when I finished my first beauty school, I think about 80% of my clients had product lifting, so I had to file it off a lot. And then we have fills, infills, or rebalance when you do the fill using electric nail file. That's step number 5. And then we have step number 6. So you see it's almost at the top already. So just imagine, like levels, like in a game. So level number 6 is dry electric file manicure and cuticle prep. That's why, like I explained earlier, when you take electric nail file for the first time in your hands and you decide to do dry manicure, oh my God, this is like you're decided to jump through the entire ladder instead of, starting from the first small step. So it is possible, but it's extremely hard. It's like going from first grade all the way to the 8th. It's hard when you do not feel confident on the previous ones. And then we have step number 7, which is dry e-file manicure on any skin or cuticle types. And to me, this is the most advanced level, such as dry hands, bitten short nails, hyperhidrosis, hyperkeratosis. In case you have no idea what I'm saying, now I'll just translate it to the normal person language. It's like very complicated nails with a lot of skin on it. Okay, now let's check. Where are you at now? Where would you identify yourself on this ladder? Like which number? And if it's 0, or even like you're not even like started climbing it yet, that's totally fine. Like we said at the beginning, please do not compare yourself to others, especially to others middle of career. That's what we're here today actually to learn. And today I will help you to get on this first step, because we will do a hands-on practice in a few moments and learn how to file the free edge so your drill bit is not going to jump. Okay, so we have Nohemi probably 0. Okay, we also have many questions regarding the replay. So yes, we will keep the replay for a while, not forever, because I think it will not be fair to everyone who just gathered together to join us live, right? So it will be available, but for a limited time. So if you guys want to watch it later, that's fine. Just do not forget that at the end of this, we are going a giveaway of a nail drill bits book. So if you want to get one, you better stay until the end. Okay, we have Allison's at 6, Rebecca is at 3, Kathleen at number 6, Lana 0, Gabriel 3, Rachel mostly 0 and 1 now, Veronica 6, Emily 5. All right, so it seems like you guys are all in a different levels. Then we also have Karen at 1, Loris at 3, Keiko at 3. Okay, that's good. So I guess I tried everything out of order, Claire is sharing. That's totally fine. I tried everything out of order too. And actually, do you know how I invented like this? Well, invented, oh my God, that sounds like too much for just making some sort of sequence with words. But how I came up with this e-file mastery ladder, I was just watching my students, how they learn, and, just trying. I didn't come to this from my first day of teaching. And then I realized it just doesn't make sense to torture them and trying to make them do a perfect dry e-file manicure on a model while they still struggle with simple product removal. So when I tried this finally in this sequence, just starting from 0, oh my God, it finally worked. Because let's say, okay, filing the free edge. Well, except for e-file jumping from the free edge, I mean, there's not that many mistakes you can do, right? You will most likely, you will not overfile someone's nail, right? It's very hard to do that. When you do product removal, also, well, you can overfile someone's nail, but not as much as you do when you do dry e-file manicure. So that's why it goes from 0 to the top 7. Okay, 0, 1 in between 2 and 3. I'm good with number 1, but not 0. Yes, and that's also okay, because maybe you just practice on yourself a lot. That's why you feel confident about this product removal, but still not too confident about filing the free edge. All right, so now I see that you're all in the different levels, but where would you like to be? Well, I assume somewhere higher, then you're now, but like I said, if you are now on level 0 or 1, please do not try to make it all the way to 7. Well, I mean, no, the goal should be 7, but I mean, not like right away, not today, okay? Just take it step by step and do not miss any steps if you really want to feel confident. You know, not just be like, well, yeah, I can do dry manicure, but in your heart, in your head, you can confidently say to yourself, that's the most important, right? How we actually feel about it. Yes, I definitely can. I'm not afraid of the most challenging, like oily, stretchy cuticles. I'm just ready to clean them all. Oh my God, I even feel goosebumps when saying this. And I mean, I'm not joking. You will feel like this once you learn all this. It's definitely possible, but please try to follow this. Did you guys take screenshots or notes of the previous slide? Like if you will follow this direction, like these steps, it will be just easier for you rather than to jump from like 1 to 6. Okay, so later, like once after we do the practice, I will introduce you an eFile 101 class. Just since we just talked about the letter, I wanted to talk that it will guide you through steps 0 to 6, because this is a class for beginners. You will learn how to do the product removal on yourself, on your clients, how to do fills, how to remove like any kind of product, and a little bit of nail prep. But not too much about dry manicure, because this is included in the next class, which is called eFile Dry Manicure, which is designed to work with different cuticle types, with the most challenging ones. And it also have a live teacher feedback, easy assignments on tips, on swatch sticks on yourself and models. Each topic has a very detailed lesson on it, and not just one. So after completing this class, you will feel confident about choosing the correct drill bit, speed, angle, and pressure. Remember this 4-step formula? So it's all included. So are you guys ready to try it, like right now? I mean, to try to master the level 0. So you will feel confident at least on this one, so you can go further. Right now, if you do, get your tips ready. Okay, so you can use any kind of tips. You can even use your nails if you have ones now, and you do not feel sad about like filing them a little bit. Swatch sticks are just more comfortable to work on because they have, you know, this stick here that you can hold on to. Or it can be a regular tip. If you do not have one, you still have a couple minutes to quickly make them ready. So ideally, these should not be bare tips, because plastic tips, they're very thin. So I recommend you to put some product on them. Like I have plenty of the swatch sticks with acrylic inside them right here when I did this acrylic swatches. Maybe you could do this. You can apply gel here. Like it's just easier to apply it underneath. And do not worry if it's not even or anything, it doesn't matter, because we're going to learn how to file the free edge. And while you're doing this, I will quickly, when removing, Irina's asking, when removing product, should you go down the natural nail with the ceramic or the carbide bit? Well, when you feel very confident about product removal, technically, yes. That's what I do. I take the carbide bit, or I take ceramic bit, depending on the product. Like if it's soft gels, I use ceramic. And I file it all the way to the natural nail. But when you're just learning, when you're doing this for the first time, I recommend you to not do this. Instead, take off the majority of the product, and once you see a very thin layer, what you can do is whether to switch to the softer abrasive, let's say the yellow or red mark, or switch to hand file. And do it like this a few times. So once you get more confident, you can go all the way down to the nail. So I do this with the carbide bit because it's just easier and faster, right? Rather than switching with the hand file. Okay. Okay, so I see that you guys are ready. And while you're preparing, okay, Ideally, if you have at least few, like 3 or 4, okay, swatch sticks. I will give you a few more moments to quickly get ready, and we will do this. So, eFile 101 class includes all you need to know about electric nail files, like how to pick one, about drill bits, all you need to know about rotation speed, how to use it with both hands, because I noticed some people were asking about non-dominant hands, so I decided to include it in the course too, because one of the reasons we decided to become nail techs is definitely to be your own nail techs, to do your nails. So we will also talk how to clean drill bits, how to do advanced fill with product lifting, how to do simple fill, product removal on yourself with non-dominant hand, basic nail prep for extensions, and simple cuticle care. So by the end of the course, you will be confident about choosing correct drill bits, working with proper speed, product removal on yourself and your clients, shaping, fills, and prep. And most importantly, my goal is to make electric nail file your favorite tool, just like it is mine. You will feel confident when using this. Okay, guys, now let's do the practice part. Okay, so I have different kinds of swatch sticks here. Some even include some designs. Okay. So I want you to use, well, right now it doesn't matter which one. I mean, you can technically use almost any shape. But since we are going to practice filing free edge, it is better if you have a shape that looks like this. Like a cone, a cylinder, you know, something like this. And ideally, it should be carbide or ceramic. If you do not have it yet, then you can use like a sandband technically too, but it's better if you will use carbide or ceramic. Okay, so I think I'm going to use this one. This is like a 5-way carbide bit. So if your tips are not too thick, then we're not doing the top speed right away. So I need you to set the speed. Let's start like, well, mine is 22, and I think I'm going to like stay with it, like 22,000 RPMs. And I recommend you to switch yours at least 22, well, not less. Okay, and first, before I do this, I will first explain it to you. So every time you are filing the free edge, whether to make them short or to take them off, or just to reshape them, usually what do? We just take the carbide bit and we go like from one side to the other, right? You need to hold the client's finger really tight. So if you're using the swatch stick, I recommend you to hold it like all the way here. Well, if it's long like mine. If you're using the short one, well, be careful, okay? Like if you have long nails like me, be careful. But still, you need to hold it tight to avoid too much vibrations. So we go from one side to the other, right? From left to right. Well, I'm afraid usually when I try to imitate this jumping of the e-file, sometimes I'm not able to show it, so maybe I will not like be able to show you how it jumps. But if you ever did these mistakes, I'm sure you're aware what it looks like. So why does this happen? Let me show you from the side view. So when you hold it like this, like perfectly 90 degree, so what's happening? You're going first, it goes smoothly and perfectly, right? With the first part, nobody usually have any issues. But once you reach the end, depending on the shape of the flutes on your bead, sometimes they just get stuck with this corner, and this is why it happens. So technically, it tries to rotate, but it's stuck in this corner. Okay, so I will try to show. So this is like the typical how most people do. Just, okay, I'm not going to hold it as close as I usually do so you guys can see it, okay, because normally I would hold it closer. And you just go all the way, to another side. Well, yeah, working. So what I recommend you to do, instead of this angle, try, okay, so this is how I just did that. That's when you experience this jumping of the e-file. Try a little bit like this. So just lean the electric file on yourself. So I want you guys to try it like this first, okay, with your with the standard angle, 90 degree. And then, like regardless whether you experience this problem or not, and then try this angle. Okay, I think I can hold it like this so you guys, okay, it's quite challenging to hold it. So my angle is different now. So once you do it like this, you will not experience this jumping of the e-file because, well, my line doesn't look very nice. Okay, much better. And the reason for it is because this is how the drill bits work. So these are very small blades, like knives, and they're rotating quickly. So when they're like this, they get stuck in this corner. That's why we feel this terrible jumping, and oh my God, it feels like for the client, it doesn't feel well. And yeah, I myself jump with fear sometimes too. But once you do this a little bit like this, it will be much better. And yes, we can see like now this line is not super straight, it's a little bit rounded, but normally it's fine. I mean, if you're just shaping nails, you still shape them later with a hand file, right? Or if you're taking the nails off, then who cares? Okay, but do not go too extreme, okay? Do not make this angle like this, like it should not go like too much under the nail, just a little bit, okay? So instead of this, try this angle. Okay, now let me take some other tip. Yeah, maybe this one with acrylic on top. Okay, so once again, I will do the traditional way for, oh my God, it feels so different when there's acrylic on top, because with the tip, it was easy, guys. So if you have acrylic, like a tip with acrylic or with gel, I recommend you to try with this one, because it feels a way more like an actual product. Okay, so yes, finally I can, come on, jump. So I feel this jumping, so at a certain angle, you feel like it starts vibrating, and these fluids, they get stuck in the product. So instead, once again, try changing this angle a little bit, okay, not too much. But the very tip of the drill bit will go like under the nail, and it works so much differently, smoothly, and just do not, you're probably afraid of this area, right? Let me know if your e-file is jumping, but now you will not be anymore, because with this angle it works completely different. And it also depends on the fluids. So I'm pretty sure with certain drill bits you may not experience this jumping. Let me actually show you. So some drill bits have, like all fluids, they have a very different shape. So sometimes they're like this, right? Sometimes they are diagonal, sometimes they're like in a different ways. So usually the more fluids they are, the most likely this drill bit is to get stuck in this corner and to have this, very uncomfortable jumping and vibration. But once you try it with a different angle, it will not get stuck there. So the point of this is, I just want you guys to understand. Okay, so once again, like how I explained it with the peaches, how e-file works. So technically, all we want to do is to take a little bit of the product off, like to file it off, to shave it off from the top, right? And if something is not working the way like you wish it would, like it gets stuck, that means there's some error. So just try, okay, it with a different angle. So in this case, remember our system. Let me see if, yes, I do have it here. Okay, so drill bit, speed, angle, and pressure. So if you have this e-file jumping, Well, I mean, if the drill bit you're using is not suitable at all for product removal, you will just have a hard time doing this. So for product removal, you need to use carbide or ceramic drill bit. The speed should be, it depends on the product, but not less than 20,000 rotations per minute. Okay, so try it at least 20, 25. If you have acrylic nails, like long stiletto nails, very thick enhancement, then it can be all the way to the top, like 30K RPMs. The angle, a little bit like this. I would say it's not even 45, like a little bit more than 90. And the pressure, well, the pressure should be even, but if you have all these things on point, it will be pretty easy, like, to use the correct pressure, because we don't even need to press too much. It's working by itself, you know, like a very sharp blade cutting through warm butter, you know, something like this. That's how it should feel. If it feels like you're cutting something like tomatoes with a very dull kitchen knife, then, well, probably the drill bit you're using is whether low quality or too dull. Okay, so Daenerys is sharing. It feels, I can feel the difference. Is more smoother when I angle a bit, like you said. Awesome, guys. So let me know if you tried it too, please, because, you know, I like feedback. Immediate feedback is one of the best rewards you can imagine. So if you guys tried it too, if you haven't, like if you don't have e-file with you right now, or you're like not in a place where you could do it, that's fine, but please try it later. I just would love to hear your feedback. Okay, mine keeps jumping even at an angle. Veronica, okay, so try it once again, like try this angle a little bit differently and let me know which drill bit you're using. Maybe try it with a different drill bit. Mine sometimes jump when I file the product off the top when I'm trying to remove my color. Okay, so if it's jumping when you're working with them from the top, I'm pretty sure that, well, first of all, make sure the drill bit is okay. Try more speed, okay? Try 25,000 rotations per minute. And by the way, I haven't pointed out, but it's also very important today, if electric nail file you're using is extremely, like it doesn't have enough power, such as home use e-files, you will not be able to work with it properly. But like a few years ago, I brought it a lot, like a very important topic. But now there's so many good electric files out there in the market. There's so many good ones on Amazon, like there's a lot of them. So just make sure that the one you're using is not home use. It should be a professional one. And if it has at least 35,000 rotations per minute speed, that's okay. There's also another options you need to keep in mind. We actually have this article on our website with the certain requirements for the e-file. Maybe someone can drop it in the chat if you guys have it. And the problem is not all manufacturers mention these specifications when they sell it. So sometimes you just like not able to. But I would say most modern e-files from the leading manufacturers, such as Melody Susie, I actually have a lot of their e-files, or what else? Luraco, Medicool. These have like a very great, powerful e-files. So when your drill bit is jumping, most likely something is wrong with the speed or angle. There's something wrong with that. If you're sure that drill bit is okay, your e-file is not like super low powerful, try more speed or try to change the angle. There should be something like this. But if it's jumping on the free edge or when you're filing off the product lifting, actually when it's product lifting, you need to understand that it's just physics. So what is product lifting? It's when product is separated from the surface of the nail plate. So normally the product should be on, but instead it's like, you know, like a little wing is just moving. So once your drill bit reaches this area, of course it may jump because this part is not even holding onto the nail anymore. So to avoid this, you need to identify the area of the lifting, and you need to file all the way around it. All the way around it, but do not file the lifting itself, only around it. And once you do, it will fall off by itself. So technically, you're not supposed to file the lifting itself, like I said, because it's not even attached to the nail anymore. Only file all the way around it. I only do my nails, and my drill bit top speed is 30,000 RPMs. Is that good, Karen? Yeah, well, it's hard to say. Like I can say by according to the speed only, but yeah, I'm pretty sure like most modern e-files have enough power. Like you might, the only thing you might not be able to do, let's say, if you have a very like extremely thick layer of the product. Like I had this model once, she came to me with like super thick nails, like it was like extremely thick. And even my powerful e-file with 45,000 RPMs was not able to handle, well, hardly was able to handle this. So when you're just filing some extreme thick design or like crazy inlay design with acrylic, let's say, but other than that, all the things that we do, regular product removals, regular fills, dry manicure, absolutely. I have strong 210, and I can tell what speed it's on. It has min and max. Oksana, strong 210 is actually a great one. And I have this lesson in my class that explains. So all you need to do, just take it to the top speed, and now you know that it's 35, right? The max, like I think this model have the top speed, which is 35, and then you just take it halfway, and then you will know the half of the 35 is 70 and a half, right? So then you will know that it's 70 something, and half of that is half of the 70 and a half. Okay, it's actually, yeah, easier to explain if I paint it. What speed should be used when removing products? Sabrina is asking. It depends on the product, but at least 20,000 rotations per minute, more than 20K. For soft gel, for gel polish, for thin gel nails, 20 to 25 is usually okay. For polygel acrylic, for any kind of thick nails, 25 and up, like 25 to 30. I have a Melody Susie and a Cuckoo. Oh, I haven't heard of the second one, but Melody Susie have a really good ones. I recently tried the latest one, the Jade Plus. It's like super small, portable, but that one is electronic, like brushless. Oh my God, it's like super good. Rachel, thank you. Thank you. Another person in the nail industry preach practicing at a slower speed. I don't think I have ever touched the speeds you're mentioning. Well, there are certain things we should do at a lower speed, such as, especially when you're dealing with the like very sensitive skin, when you're like buffing the sidewalls, when you're polishing the surface of the nail plate, it also should be a little slower. But when it comes to product, like you technically need to take something off, just think about it. Like I said, it's, you know, remember the friction force, the heat spikes. So once the speed is slower, you're forced to do more and more and more, and it will cause only heat. But if you take the high speed and do like, you're technically just shaving a few layers off, and that's it. So I'm not saying that you need to take 30,000 RPMs and work on your clients tomorrow if you haven't done this before, okay? Please be safe. Remember this e-file mastery ladder. Just try from zero, take it slow. But yes, actually most work when it comes to product removal, fills, shaping, and dry manicure. Well, dry manicure not so much. Yeah, it's top speed, like more than 20. Okay, now let's get back to the presentation, and then we will do, I will present the course. We will do the Nail Drill Bits book giveaway, and then we will do the Q&A session. Okay, guys, I will cover your questions. And oh my God, it's already 1 hour and a half. How do you feel about it? I think the time flies so fast. Like, oh my God, okay, we need to We usually try to fit in 2 hours because I know it's kind of, we do not have all the time of the day and you guys are probably tired. So I will try to keep it short. Okay, so I know that we have some people who already took some classes with me at Nails Pro Academy, but some people are new. So I will just briefly explain what the educational process looked like, because I noticed that it was, fun when sometimes I talk to someone and they know about me and my channel, and then they're like, well, I also took this class, at Nails Pro Academy, and then they realized that I'm the same person. Well, they took not my class, like we also have another educators, but she took the class from, we have Natasha Che, who does nail art, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm the same person. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that besides doing content on YouTube and social media, I also, I'm very passionate about teaching and doing online classes. So the learning on the Nails Pro Academy is fun, and it doesn't work the same way as this webinar, because now we are live, and on Nails Pro Academy, all lessons are pre-recorded, which means you can watch them anytime, anywhere, on any device, and you have your own schedule. You do not have to be at a certain time somewhere. However, now we do have included a couple live streams to our class, but they will be recorded, and you will be able to watch the replay. And all the main lessons are recorded in advance because we use a very high quality cameras, a very detailed macro lens, so you will see all the details. We also give you unlimited attempts to submit your homework, because sometimes with certain things it will be easier for you. You just try it and you're like, all right, now it works. Like even now, I noticed that some people were like, oh, I just tried it and it worked. But with some people it didn't work, and that's okay, because maybe you just didn't use the proper drill bit. Maybe there was something else. That's why we do not limit our students to that, and you can redo your homework as many times as you need. And you will also have live teacher feedback. We have our teacher here, Linda, joining us live today. She's also a former student of Nails Pro Academy. I think she took all classes. And that's the most valuable part of the class, because if you just watch the videos, you'll be like, oh, okay, now I think I know. But when you're on your own trying this, you may experience some problems and troubles. And only when you have an experienced educator who will help you to overcome these problems, that's the actual learning. Like for me, that's how I see it. Right? I mean, there's so many things available for free on YouTube, but this is just watching, right? And practicing with a teacher is a completely different thing. And also you will have an international students chat, so you will be able to chat with students through Telegram app and ask any questions, and you will get a lifetime access when you join the course. So this is what the lesson looks like. It's a pre-recorded video. On top, you see the one video, it's like me talking about the RPMs. And then, oh, there was a question. I think someone was asking a question about the speed control. So here's this picture on the bottom. And actually, it includes a little answer to your question. So you see the some e-files, they do not have, like mine is electronic. I just see the digit. I can see 20, I can set it to 21. But with some, you cannot see the exact speed right away. So this is how it works. You just know that minimum is 0 and max is, usually it's 35K. So, and you will know that in between, if you divide this part into 2 equal parts, the in between will be 17,500 RPMs. And in between will be 800, 750. So this is how you know what's the speed. So this is just one lesson out of 38. It's called speed control, and I explain how it works. I explain it with different e-files and how you should use it. Then we have different assignments. For example, this is the one where we practice on tips how to remove the product. And you will need to submit these assignments. So we take this education very seriously, even though it's online. You are also going to practice, because to me it's important. If you graduate, when you certify and get the certificate, it's just important to me that I will know that you feel confident about it, you know how to do it. So you will need to submit assignments, and then you will have Linda or I check it too sometimes, pointing out the mistakes that you have, if you have any, and then you will continue learning. Sometimes you will need to fix them. Sometimes if they're not any mistakes, we may just say, well done, you can continue. And by the end of the course, you will need to upload your final assignment. Usually we ask you to take a nice picture, to also apply the color on top so it will actually look like a nice graduate work you might want to share on social media. And once it's accepted by your tutor too, you will receive a certificate of completion. This is what it looks like. It will have your name on it. And by the way, if you are in the US, you might want this CEU credits. So this class includes 20 continuing education units. If you do not know what it is, so it works for nail technicians with license. In certain states, you need to have this CEU continuing education credits every year, and the number depends on the state. So our courses provide them. Okay, so we have eFile 101, which is suitable for beginners since it includes product removal, fields, how to work with eFile, hands-on practice. And then we have eFile Manicure, which is step number 7 in our eFile master letter. It includes detailed cuticle care, different skin and cuticle types, a lot of hands-on practice on dry manicure and trimming cuticles with eFile. Because this technique is very advanced, so we decided to create a separate course only about it. And I recommend you to do only eFile 101 first and then eFile Manicure. Because like I said, doing eFile Manicure right away will be too complicated and too hard. But if you graduated from the first one, by the way, then you can. Absolutely. Linda gives great feedback. Oh, thank you, Michelle. Yeah, Michelle is our student too. So each class includes CEU credits, live teacher feedback, lifetime access to students' chat, mini drill bits ebook. By the way, so it's small, like it's not like a super long book, but it includes, let's say, let me show you something from here. Let's say you would like to remove, so like explanation on what the color bands mean. Like overview of the shapes, like we have corn shape, needle shape, cylinder, rounded cylinder, like what's the difference, how do they work. It also includes how to clean them. Let's say recommended drill bits for hard gel, for acrylic, and so on. So this is like an addition to the class that will have something with you. So you will have this in PDF format, so you can print it out like me. So you will have an actual book, or you can use it on your device if you would like to. And of course, certificate of completion. I'm not computer savvy. I wouldn't know how to submit anything, Jetson. Well, don't worry about it. It's pretty easy. Like you normally would upload the file, let's say, on your social media. There's just, this field for it. But we also have like managers who will help you through it. So do not worry. Like technically, it's like watching videos on YouTube. And submitting is very similar to just clicking on a button. But we have an orientation class, a replay of this class at the beginning. And this is the part where we explain technical things of the class, like how it works, how do you submit, how you issue a certificate, and so on. Okay, so Susan saying, dang, I missed most of it. Yeah, do not worry. You will be able to watch a replay now, but I recommend you to do it like right now, because it will be available for a few days only, and then we will hide this video, because I think, right, I shared pretty much information that is actually, like about 3% of this information is also included in the class. So just imagine like in the class that you will learn much more. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the top, and if you guys, oh my God, I'm not even sure if it's possible because there's so many comments. So if you guys have any questions, if you could maybe repeat some of your questions, I am pretty happy to reply now. Okay. Okay, so Drew Myra is asking, many times you need to file off the top layer to then soak off the remaining soft gel. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're using the product that is a sock off product, you can definitely just file the top off and sock off the rest. And by the way, this is one of the easiest methods, because when you have only to file the top off, then you do not need to worry that you're like over filing or damaging the nail. By the way, I think I did pretty good, right? I didn't cough as much. That's because you guys and your energy helped me to feel better, because I was stressing out about it yesterday because I was like coughing every 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh my God, how am I be able to handle the webinar? But I think it was pretty good. I mean, my voice is still a little raspy, but I think it was okay. Okay, let me get back. Okay, we have questions. Trevor's asking, will you ever do live workshops? Yes, I actually have one planned in Texas. In Texas, Houston. I believe it's October. Oh my God, I don't remember. You see, after second COVID, my memory got really bad. It's 24th or 25th, but I am going to share this information on my Instagram. That's going to be like a hands-on live class within the show. And I don't have any other live classes planned yet, but I would love to, because I like meeting people live too, so maybe there will be more. Can Carbide bits worn out, Rosa? Absolutely, guys. Bits is something that you need to change from time to time. Well, maybe except for this, well, I don't have it with me. You know, the ones that you put the sand bands on. Carbide, diamond, ceramic, they all worn out. It depends on the quality. Some of them last very long, some of them don't. In average, Carbide bit lasts about 30 to 50 services. So once you have 50 clients, usually it's not as sharp anymore, so you need to throw it away. And diamond bits worn out faster. You are so excellent. Thank you so much, Willie. Gwen is asking, when I use my drill, Medical 35K, that's a good one, by the way, at higher RPMs, it gets quite hot. Is this normal? So I assume the handpiece gets hot. No, it's not okay. I mean, if you are like aggressively working too much, I had it sometimes when I had this client with this super like crazy long nails. I also did feel that it gets a little warmer, but if it gets hot all the time, no, I don't think it's normal. I think you should contact the Nailcou. They're actually a really good company from California, and you just ask them like what's going on, because with some of my e-files that we had in our school, because you know students doesn't treat them very gently sometimes, so sometimes when there's too much dust inside, that's what can happen. So just make sure maybe it needs to be cleaned. I get confused on direction when using my e-file with my non-dominant hand. Rachel, yeah, I know. Well, since, I mean, your non-dominant hand will remain the non-dominant, right? I mean, if you do not plan to learn how to work with it, what I recommend to do is just keep the same direction and rotation. Like when I work with my left hand, I do not really change anything. I just do the same. But the difference is that my hand is from another side. But I know, yeah, it gets confusing, especially when you're working on yourself, because also you're holding your hand a little bit differently compared to how your client will hold it. What is the best way, Veronica is asking, what is the best way to determine when you're removing product to know the difference from base and natural nails? Base, gel polish gel, the product, whatever you file it with carbide or ceramic bit, it's very smooth, right? It's almost like a tip. While the nail, it has these little ridges. And this is the best way to check it. And when this dust from the product falls on it, you can also see like the products, it's usually very, very smooth, while the nail has this little super fine lines on it. But it takes practice. I mean, you need to like be careful to stop, to clean the dust, to look very closely every time when you're just learning how to do this. Will there be any deals on the other courses for Black Friday? I've been meaning to study more, Clarice. Oh my God, are you saying that Black Friday is coming soon? Yeah, it's September. Wow, just in my head it was beginning of the summer. Yeah, I guess we are going to do the Black Friday deals again for another courses. Yeah, we actually haven't thought about it yet because it's a little far, but yes, definitely. Trevor's asking, should we always use goggles and face mask when doing product removal? Absolutely. Face mask, you need to use it all the time. The only time I do not use it is right now on the webinar because I want you guys to be able to hear me, and I didn't work that much now. You always need to protect yourself. As for goggles, I only take them on when I'm filing off the product such as acrylic or polygel. With gel or gel polish, usually I do not use it because the dust is very fine. Or when you take off the rhinestones, because they can actually go all the way into our eyes. So yeah, or there's also, this protective screen, which works kind of like both. So yes, please, guys, always use this. Also use dust collector because this is not a joke. Like, this is our health and this is important. Client is sitting there only for an hour or two, and we are sitting there like all day, every day. So please, like, take care of yourselves. Shika's asking, why does the e-file completely stop sometimes? Well, completely stops, that means how it can stop. If the drill bit is completely stuck into the product, it's just not able to file it through. And why could that happen? Whether the speed, it's too slow, whether your e-file you're using is extremely, there's no power to do this. So this is another option. Well, I don't see any other reason, whether it's too slow or the power is not enough. Actually, I had it one time with my good, powerful electric nail file, but it was also, I was working through a ridiculous amount of product. I was taking off these cube nails and it stopped a couple times. So when it stops, you just immediately take the handpiece off and it should start spinning again, right? And just try a different angle. Because when it's stuck, it means it's not it can't move. But once you change the angle, usually it's supposed to work through. But if it still keeps stopping, there's something wrong with your e-file or speed, or if the drill bit is extremely dull, of course. Well, I'm not talking about the other situations, as your e-file is broken or the power is off. Which is the best way to clean disinfect bits, 99% IPA or acetone? Yaquina, so this cleaning part also depends on the country. All countries have very different regulations. If we're only talking about the actual cleaning, I recommend to use hospital-grade disinfectants because they will not just clean it, but also disinfect at the same time, because acetone will only clean the product off. It's not really going to disinfect anything. Rachel, I've seen some people put a damp towel over their dust collector. Is there any benefit to doing that step? Yes, I actually tried it too. I tried it in my old dust collector, which was working very bad, and it helped because without it, it was even worse. But then I got myself a new one, so now I have a Melody Susie and another one from Russian manufacturer. It's called Air Master, and they both work great without the towel. So it's hard to say. I mean, it worked for the one I didn't like. And always wear gloves. Yes, thanks, Michelle. I have allergies and I wear high quality gloves without fail. Yeah, you guys, if you're watching my videos, you know that I'm always wearing gloves. Lately I prefer purple ones. This webinar is, I guess, the only time you could see me without it. Because this is serious. Like I said, we need to protect ourselves, and I wear it even if a client comes and like, oh, like, can you please add one rhinestone? Or, if I even need to do a very, very simple, something small job, I wear gloves when I'm doing swatches. I'm wearing gloves when I'm recording a video. It doesn't matter because I always protect my skin. In my country, we use barbicide. Yeah, well, barbicide, yeah, it is a hospital-grade disinfectant. It's just, let's say in Russia, you are supposed to do this first, like use a hospital-grade disinfectant. After that, you wash them, and then you need to use an actual sterilizer, whether dry heat or autoclave. And I know some Eastern European countries have a similar regulations, but some of them don't. So the first part is enough. Rose is sharing. Thanks for all the learning. I've been following you since 2025, I think 2015, right? I think it's been a journey. Wow, that's like 7 years. Am I that old? Sometimes when clients or students come, or especially models, they're like, hey, so how long have you been doing nails? They just asking me. And sometimes I tell them it's 2004, and some of my models were not even born yet. So I'm like, wow, okay. So now I have experience that I can say I've been doing nails even, you were not, since you were not even born. Gloves is a good topic. Is there any type that is best? Well, it depends on the, your skin. I prefer, let me see, what's the name? Nitrile gloves. It just feels better on my skin. And usually you just pick the one that feels better for you. So you can just buy a few sample, like a few types and try working with them. And then whatever feels better for you. Because latex, my hands get extremely sweaty with them, and also they feel like I don't know, they just don't feel very good on my skin. Okay, so we have more questions. Let me quickly see what's going on YouTube. Wow, you guys have some hot tea with honey after, please. Oh, thank you so much. I will. This been like I was almost done with all the coughing I felt like this, and now it came back a couple of days earlier. So yeah, thank you guys so much for caring. Yeah, I think also because I've been talking a lot, maybe I'm coughing now, but yeah, I will take care of myself too, because I have so many things I also want to do. All right, so it seems like we covered. Let me quickly take back couple less questions, and we will be finishing because it seems like we're just done at 2 hours. A lot of nail techs here don't use gloves, which is crazy to me. Absolutely, yeah, it is. So it's like, first of all, I think it looks more professional. So imagine you're just coming. Well, obviously, I do not look as fancy when I'm working with the clients. It's nowhere even close. Actually, recently I posted this video on my reels when I, with my hair back, and one of my followers said, "Oh my God, Anastasia, I didn't recognize you," because she always saw me, like this in my videos and in my intro on YouTube. Obviously, I try to look prettier. So it just looks more professional. I think that also clients will feel more safe, but most importantly, it's your health, it's your safety. So please do protect yourself, especially when doing manicures, pedicures, when actually doing anything. To me, it's also very crazy and weird not wearing gloves, so please do. Ida's asking, if a client comes with overfiled nails, how long should they wait before getting a new set? So it depends. If it's, let's say, if it's one nail that is red and all the rest of them are okay, I'm usually just do the regular extensions. But if all nails, like 9 out of 10, are badly overfiled, they're red, they're very sensitive, I will recommend to wait until they naturally renew. So in average, this process takes from 2 to 4 months, usually 3 to 4 months. And that's how long I would recommend to make them outgrow. But you also need to take a look. Sometimes if this redness is already on the middle of the nail, maybe like a couple months would be enough. Thank you so much for an amazing webinar. You're the best. Oh, thank you so much, guys. Yes, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. I will appreciate if you will share something on your social media. If you will, please do not forget to tag me. And we have Nails Pro Academy, Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, everything, and TikTok. That's where I post TikToks, and I also have my own. So please tag me so I will be able to see. I'm also, always feel a little like I'm only seeing your comments, right? You see me, but I do not see you. So every time I see your tags, like in Instagram stories, where you actually have this setting, like with a cup of tea or some with your family, or sometimes with a dog, with a cat, and with the tips, I'm like, I have a feeling like we actually, I don't know, saw each other or something. Okay, thank you for this webinar, Anastasia. I learned a lot. Thank you, Loretta. Thank you, and get well soon, Keiko. Thank you so, so much. Gracias. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, guys, so this was very exciting. It's been a while since I did webinar. I should do it more often. So once again, thank you, and I will see you soon in some of my videos. And remember, never stop learning. Goodbye. Okay, guys, so yeah, I am back, but I did not plan it. It was just a technical mistake. So in this poster, it says we will be coming back in a few. And we did this for the emergency because I was really worried if I'm going to cough real hard, like all the time. And I'm like, what if I will start this crazy coughing, when you just can't stop? We will just put this screen so you guys will know that you need to wait, and you will know. So just by accident, our manager just turned this on. So I just wanted to get back live to let you know, no, this was the end, and I said goodbye, but thank you for staying. And oh, wow. 59 years old here, have never had anyone to do my nails, have always done them myself. I have learned the most from you. You are my favorite YouTuber. Tutu Tips, thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, so this is what happened, and I am saying goodbye once again. Just wanted, to let you know, in case you guys will be waiting for me. Yes, this was just the wrong screen, and we will be we will turn the correct one right now. So once again, have a great day or a great evening if you're in Europe. And Los, I must be psychic. Yeah, guys. So I just, we were about, okay, this is finished. We were about to turn off this stream. And then they're like, hey, actually, people are commenting something. Hey, guys, Anastasia, they're waiting for you. And I'm like, okay, I just need to go live and explain everything. So anyways, once again, thank you so much. I'm all blushing and I'm about to take a warm cup of tea. And I see you guys soon. Goodbye. Oops.